Hey guys, it's Dawn, aspiring author of adult fantasy. I'm feeling a little bit bummed right now because the video I had planned today was a tutorial on how I printed a keepsake copy of the novella version of The Elf and the Goblin. However, for some reason, Barnes & Noble Press isn't loading properly. Like I can't sign in, and even if I can sign in, I can't get to the point that I'm trying to record and show how to do things, which is really a bummer because I was excited to make this video. So I'm hoping they'll figure out whatever is going on with them soon so that I can do that video next week. I have all my other footage, so like showing my formatting, showing how I did my cover and back cover on Canva and all that stuff, but yeah, I can't get Barnes & Noble Press to load. And then my creative room tour video is not ready yet because I'm not done hanging the artwork in here. And then I also have a bunch of boxes of things I want to donate to the thrift store just sitting in here because I don't have anywhere else to put them right now. So the room's not ready. So both of the videos I was really excited about and wanted to show you guys are not ready to upload today. And I'm really bummed about that because I think they're both pretty cool. Maybe I'm overestimating that, but anyways, so what we're gonna do today is just kind of give an update for Camp NaNoWriMo and what I'm working on as far as writing right now. In my last video, I kind of hinted at basically the Russian fairy tale project not working out for Camp NaNoWriMo, and that is what happened. So basically, the problem I ran into is that as I was trying to work on the Russian fairy tale, I mean, most of you know, if you're writers, a big part of the writing process is the time that you spend daydreaming about the project. So you're kind of working through scenes in your head, working through plot holes and all that stuff. All of my daydreaming time was not going to the Russian fairy tale. It was completely consumed by The Elf and the Goblin, which, as I've mentioned before, I want to expand into a full novel and then have a couple sequels for. So that was a problem. And even when I would sit down to write the Russian fairy tale, even if I was able to crank something out, it just felt kind of pointless because my heart wasn't in it. And I just don't see any good reason to write something if that's not what you're in the mood to write, because ultimately it's probably not going to be as high quality. You're going to come back later and have to fix it anyways. So I made the decision to put the Russian fairy tale back on the back burner. Sorry, Russian fairy tale. I know you've been there for a long time and now you have to go back. But I think my creative mind is telling me that it wants to still be working on The Elf and the Goblin, which I was a little irritated about because I was trying to let it rest, but I just love the project. And I feel like the novel is going to be different enough from the novella that maybe it won't be so bad to continue working on it. I don't know if that makes sense. Because basically, I'm keeping a lot of what is in the novella, except I'm adding a lot more scenes, more locations, more characters. So really, I'm just gonna like double the book by adding new stuff. So a lot of what I've written already, I don't have to rewrite or tweak horribly. So what I have been working on for April, which is a little anticlimactic and I don't know, it's not drafting, so it feels like it's not that interesting to report, but I have been working on creating a detailed outline for the second draft, so the non-novella version of The Elf and the Goblin. Since I was working on a Save the Cat project with Russian fairy tale, I decided to carry that over to The Elf and the Goblin. I'm not strictly following Save the Cat. I'm using it more as like a troubleshooting tool, which I know a lot of people do that. So it has been useful so far, and I'm just kind of looking into different beats when I feel like something's sort of off in my pacing or I can't figure out where to place a certain scene in the sequence of events. So yeah, that's what I'm working on with Save the Cat as far as The Elf and the Goblin. But as of right now, I already finished the full rough outline and now I'm working on the detailed outline. I'm already pretty much done outlining Act 1. I did have to go back and add a couple chapters at the beginning based on some feedback I got from one of my alpha readers, I guess you would call it. I have a few people reading the first draft right now because I sent out a bunch of copies of the novella version. But other than that, the first act is outlined out. So I am currently working on Act 2, which, if you guys are familiar with the Save the Cat method, and I think with a lot of other methods that use a 3-act structure, Act 2 is the longest, chunkiest, heaviest act of the 3. So I expect this to take, a week and a half at least, and then I will move on to Act 3, which honestly, it's pretty much outlined already because it'll be pretty similar to what's in the novella, so that won't be as much work as Act 2, which will have a lot of new scenes, a lot of new places to explore, and a lot more of a complex and nuanced cast of characters. I feel like this is just the story of my writing life where I tell you guys I have a plan and then I come back later and go, never mind, I'm working on something else. And that's just how it is. I can't force myself to work on a project that I'm not feeling passionate about. I just don't feel like that's useful. So I'm going to jump right back into The Elf and the Goblin as soon as this outline is done. Hopefully have a lot of fun drafting out the new material. My plan, my hopeful tentative plan, is to have the second draft finished by the end of the year and then go through just a quick round of edits before I send it to beta readers at the beginning of next year. But knowing me, that's very optimistic. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know I'm not super good at deadlines, excluding, of course, when I wrote The Elf and the Goblin for the Indie Bookworm book box, because it was deadlines given to me by somebody else. So it wasn't self-imposed, so it worked a little better. But unfortunately, I don't have any such deadlines for the project now. So we will see how it goes. I'm feeling optimistic about it because I love this project so much, and I am so excited to delve deeper into these characters and their motivations, and also to delve deeper into the political intrigue subplot, because I really didn't get to do much with that in the novella because there wasn't room and time for that as I was writing the novella. I think it will also be fun to do a lot more detailed dive into the world building, because I have two very distinctly different cultures that are often coming to a head. You have like a colonial culture, which is the High Elvish culture, and then you have a subjugated culture that has now liberated itself and founded its own country with the goblins. And then in between, of course, you have sort of the mixing of those two cultures, which is also very complicated. So I'm excited to kind of delve into those difficult topics and explore the different influences that I'm bringing into those cultures. I do need to spend some time kind of dialing out the aesthetics of the cultures, which is something I'm not very good at. I don't have an eye for fashion. It's something that I really struggle with as far as describing in my writing. I don't know terminology about clothing, especially as it applies to like period clothing. So that's really difficult for me. So I think that is something I need to pay attention to and put a lot of work into learning how to do better, because it is part of the atmosphere of the book and it is part of the world building. So I want to make sure I do a good job on that. I have done a lot of groundwork already on the sort of history of this region, although I do want to do some more. I'm trying to develop a relatively defined date system so that I can keep track of people's ages in relation to certain events that have happened, but I haven't completely finished that. So that is another thing I need to sit down and work on more thoroughly. I feel like this is such a lame update because so many of you guys were saying you were excited for me to work on the Russian fairy tale, and now I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then I also said I was gonna do a tutorial about how to print a keepsake book, and that couldn't be done this week. And I said I was gonna do a creative room tour, and that wasn't done this week. So I'm sorry that this video was so lame. I hope it was still interesting though, and that you liked hearing about what I have been up to and what I plan to do in the coming months. I am very, very excited to continue working on The Elf and the Goblin. I feel like it has kind of taken over my heart as my current passion project, which is a relief because the network was kind of all-consuming and a little bit overwhelming because it's a very ambitious project that has a lot going on with it. And I think I need to build some more of my skills as an author before I'm fully ready to tackle that behemoth. So I think working on something like this and honing some skills before I come back to the network will be good. And I'm glad that The Elf and the Goblin is drawing enough of my attention so that I'm not stressing about the network anymore. Ugh, being a writer is so hard. I'm curious if you guys have gotten to this point in the video, let me know down in the comments how you handle deciding which project to work on. Is it just based on how you're feeling? Do you prioritize things based on, what you think you're going to be able to finish most quickly? I'm very curious because obviously I don't have a good system right now, so give a girl some advice. I guess that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. Stay tuned, hopefully, for next week's video about the tutorial on how to do a keepsake copy of your book. I really hope Barnes & Noble Press figures its life out because I need to get on there and film my footage. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great week and continue to have a great time during Camp NaNoWriMo. And as always, happy writing. Bye!